Good morning.
Good morning.
Another morning coffee and conversation. And today we got
Gypsy.
Gypsy. And hang on a second. Good coffee.
I try.
And this morning we're going to be talking about Gypsy's journey
Into
into motorcycle riding. Yeah. Follow the channel, you've probably seen her bike and stuff. And well, she just got her motorcycle license about how long ago?
September 15th.
September 15th. And we've been riding a lot. But what she wants to talk about today is her journey. And we also thought good time to do that is we shot a little video going through Cook's Forest from front of her bike. And we figured you could watch the video and she'll tell you about her journey.
That's what we thought.
Yeah. So let's go to the video.
Hi, everybody. This is us in Cook's Forest. I took this video just after I got my license and just as the sun started. We had a good, beautiful day on the first real full fall color in the...
It was about the best weather we could have for seeing some full foliage because leaves haven't started dropping yet.
But while I was riding this ride, I was thinking about all of the things that brought me to this point, to this beautiful view. I started out not liking motorcycles at all. Not even... I liked the look of them. I liked seeing them at, rallies and car shows and all that kind of stuff. And I loved that Scully loved riding his motorcycle, but I watched him sit for years. Well, okay. Weeks, months while we were together. And every time we were together, he'd go in the car with me, but he'd look at the motorcycle like 3 times before we'd even get out of the driveway. And he'd drive it anywhere where I wasn't going to be going with him. And I figured I needed to learn how to get on his motorcycle. I'd been in an accident when I was a kid with my stepfather, and it got me scared, and I got hurt. So it didn't make me want to be on a motorcycle while it was running. And I thought, oh God, how am I going to do this? So I talked to him about it, and he worked with me for a good 3 or 4 months. I finally was able to go for my first ride. And from that point on, I didn't get off the back of the motorcycle with him. Once his PMS ended in the spring and he could get on that motorcycle, I was on the back with him.
Yeah, her first ride with me damn near broke my ribs.
You say that.
I know I say that, but I'm saying she was so scared at that time that she held on to me so hard that, yeah, my ribs hurt.
I think he had actual bruises in his rib area, but I did not break them.
Okay.
So we rode for many years on a Suzuki.
Well,
first we started out on the
DR650 that
DR650, yeah.
And that was like climbing a ladder for her to get on, and it wasn't comfortable at all.
It was not. I felt my brain getting stabbed by my spine many, many days. And then he got the Suzuki 550. And that was a barn find, and he wanted it for us to just be able to go for rides. It was a little bit small for us.
Yeah, it was.
I've got pictures of it. We looked like 2 big, huge people on top of this little teeny tiny motorcycle.
I'm definitely not a lightweight.
And I don't remember it being a bad bike at all. It was always wonderful. It always got us to where we needed to go. But the starter went in it. And we put it up because we got a bigger, better bike for the 2 of us.
Yeah, I picked up a 1100 LTD Kawasaki, and that was better for the 2 of us.
And it wasn't a bad bike either.
No.
And then from there, he moved up to the bike he has now, or the Mistress.
Yeah.
I call her the Mistress because he takes her everywhere with him. If he needs to go out and do something, he grabs the mistress and goes for a run, goes for a ride.
So tell them about what made you want to ride a motorcycle rather than just being the passenger.
Well, a few years into riding, we're on the Suzuki and we're coming up. We do a lot of roads that are kind of like these ones where absolutely beautiful scenery and views, but there's no cell signal. There's sometimes no houses for miles. And he got hit by something. I think it was a big bug. He doesn't know, but it gave him a bloody nose. He had to pull over. He was having a hard time seeing. And I got to thinking, oh my God, what happens if there's a day when I can't get a signal and he can't ride the motorcycle. What are we going to do? I have to learn how to ride a bike. Fast forward about 10 years.
Yeah, it took a while.
We had talked about it a couple of times, but it was more along the lines of just, oh yeah, whatever. And, we didn't really worry about it because, most of the places we do go, we're okay. If something happened, we could call for Geico to come pick the bike up and we'd get home somehow. Well, fast forward about 10 years, like I said, and his arthritis is getting to be a pain in his legs and in his hands. And he was having some troubles with me getting on and off of the bike. So we were using different ways for me to get on and off the bike. And I was thinking about that. And then we had an issue. He got on some sand. His legs couldn't hold him. And the bike, sand is one of those things where you're going to fall over. And
yeah, well, fortunately we were stopped.
And I got dumped.
I put my foot down and I just couldn't hold the bike. My leg just slid out. There was nothing I could do to hold it. And we went tumbling off the bike.
So, fast forward a couple of years more, and I decided it is now time. He's having too much trouble with me on the bike. I need to learn how to ride a motorcycle. I need to get a motorcycle. So we got the Suzuki down here from up in New York, which had been in storage for 6 years, maybe 7, because we had stopped riding it about a year before we left New York, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it was not in good shape, but we figured we'll fix it up, we'll clean it up. We love this bike. We rode this bike. It was our bike together. And I got on it after we got it here and found out my feet don't even come close to touching the ground, even with my toes straight out. It is too tall for me.
I didn't realize how tall that bike was for her. For me, I'm pretty straight-legged on it, but I can reach the ground. But there was no way she was going to...
I wasn't going to learn how to ride on that motorcycle.
Not at all.
So we started thinking about lower motorcycles and what I could ride. And we started talking about it, and we're like, he was very adamant that I get a motorcycle that is small enough for me to be able to learn on, a learner's motorcycle pretty much. And I was looking at anything that would be low enough for me to ride. I really wanted to learn, but I also wasn't going to go get my license and all that kind of stuff until I knew I was going to have a motorcycle. I was looking on Facebook Marketplace, something like that. Scully uses it all the time just to find different things or whatever he might need. And I found Gypsy Rebel. Gypsy Rebel is a 2007 Honda Rebel. Beautiful bike, 250cc.
Yep.
Now, I'm going to tell you, I didn't know this when I bought it, but has no ass.
Yeah,
okay.
You're pretty much flogging it everywhere you go.
Unless I'm going through town or just up and down the roads here at 45, maybe 55 miles an hour, I'm fine. As soon as I hit a hill, I cannot make the hills. But I didn't know that when I went to take the first, went in and took the permit test at the PennDOT, which is your Department of Motor Vehicle here. And I failed that. Said, okay, I'm giving up. I don't have a bike yet. There's no need. The girls at PennDOT were like, don't give up. Nobody passes the test the first time unless they've been on a motorcycle their entire life. They know everything.
Well, actually, I didn't know everything on that test. I was surprised at some of the stuff that was on there that I'm like, oh, crap. I forgot all about that.
Well, it's been, what, 50 years since you've taken the test?
Yeah, about that.
I mean, it's not something that you're going to remember for all that time. And if it's not something you use every single day, it goes in the back of that brain pan and it more
gets lost.
Important things stay there.
Yeah. So you went and took it the second time. I took
it the second time and passed it. The girls were elated. They were like jumping for joy, and so was I. And I'm like, okay, I can do this. Well, just after that, I found Gypsy Rebel, and we actually brought her home, and I was online looking for the class to take, and they told me there was one coming up in Butler. It was the 22nd. That was 3 days away from when the class was going to be. And just 2 days after I had taken the permit test. And I'm like, I've never even ridden.
Yeah, you never even sat on the bike.
I never even turned a motorcycle on, let alone, I'd been on 4-wheelers and 3-wheelers and all that kind of stuff, but I'd never been on a motorcycle. Bicycle, yes. And Scully said a bicycle isn't much different from a motorcycle in the sense of holding it up and all that kind of stuff. It's just going to take a little bit more. So we went and picked up Gypsy Rebel. I brought it home. We brought it home. We got it registered. I got it licensed. It's all mine. The license plate is 44 double D with a little bit more, but 44 double D, which I thought was serendipitous.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy, and I got on her. I rode her around the yard for like a half an hour. And I mean, I never even pulled my feet up or even put the throttle on. I just let her, however much she idled around is how fast I went. I don't even know. I couldn't look. I was just so into holding her and turning her that's what I did. The next day I went for my MSF course. Motorcycle safety course.
Safety foundation.
Yes. Yeah. And my God, those guys were great. They were awesome. And I'm so sorry I can't remember their names because they were awesome. They helped me. They gave me instruction. I told them, everybody right at the start, I'd never actually really been on a motorcycle.
The funny part is the first day she went, it's a 2-day class. The first day she went, she didn't even want me to go along because she would think I'd be like a mother hen,
Yep.
And
I thought he'd be so worried about me, he'd be chasing me all over the place and trying to help the guys do their stuff. And I was like, I just let me go by myself. I want to do this. The second day, I was doing so good in the class, which I really wasn't doing as good as as good as the guys were making me sound. I don't think I was really that great either. But they're like, you're doing great. You're getting your feet up on the pads. You're doing everything that you would do for the course.
And shifting.
And you're doing okay with everything. So you're doing fine. Yes, I was doing fine. Not as good as I was feeling they were feeling about it, but and not as good as I was feeling about the class because I had gone from never putting my feet up on pegs to riding. I was riding by the end of the day. And I said to Scully, I want you to come with me today. I want you to see how good I'm doing. And then you can help critique me after I get out of the class, whether or not I pass or fail. I really didn't think I was going to pass, but I had this big hope inside me that how fast I was learning it and how good I was doing, I was going to pass that test. What did you think?
On your second
for the
day
first day?
You probably could have, but I think your nervousness was going to make you screw the pooch.
I did.
Yeah.
I screwed it by the time I waited in my line to do my test, and I came up to my start and I stalled it 3 times. And if you stall it 3 times, that is an automatic fail. I never even got into the test. You're allowed to put your feet down so many times during each exercise. You're allowed to do this during each exercise.
They have a certain amount of points that they will deduct for each time you make a mistake. And you stall the bike 3 times, you're going to fail. If you put your feet down, I forgot how many times it was, you were going to fail. Of course, if you drop the bike, you instantly fail. But
I wanted to quit right after I stalled the bike. They're like, nope, you got to finish taking this test. So I finished taking the test in pretty much tears the whole time. I wasn't in tears, but I'm like, I don't feel like I'm safe on this bike. I want to quit. Nope, you can't quit. You can't go over to the sideline.
They wouldn't let me quit. They were doing exactly the same thing I would have done, which would have been not let her quit, get back on that horse, so to speak, and keep trying. You know.
And I got to the end of the class. I did really good considering. I'd never been on a motorcycle before. So yeah, I wasn't going to fail that or pass that test. There was no possible way I could. I went home feeling very defeated. I cried. I was very, very, very upset. But then Scully made me go out the next day and the next day after that and the next day after that. And I rode up and down the driveway and I rode around the trailer park. And I just said, you know what? I can do this because I did so well at the beginning.
She even fell a couple of times. Because it's all gravel here. So you can easily, grab too much front brake and drop it. Which, it did happen. So
I did that.
But she got back on it and kept going.
My scrapes and bumps and bruises.
Yeah.
But I kept looking for the next time I could take the course again. And the guys at the course told me that it wasn't a failure because I could still take it 2 more times after this. And if I failed on the 3rd try, I'd have to go back and take the permit test again. And then I could do it. Pay my $10 is pretty much what you have to do.
Well,
and you can take it for free 3 times.
In between times, we were working together. I was working with her, getting her outside the trailer park and then onto some back roads nearby. And we went a little further and a little further. Some parking lot practice.
I had to do some work on the motorcycle, though. And I did it myself.
Yeah.
Before we could get me out on the road, I needed a new clutch. Or clutch assembly.
Clutch assembly, yeah.
Clutch assembly. I did that. We went and bought one off of Amazon, and I set it all. Scully set up and put it in oil for me and did all that kind of stuff. I took Gypsy apart. I took the old clutch out. I put the new clutch pack in.
She turned all the wrenches on her
with
bike.
just a little bit of help from him and a couple of videos off of YouTube.
Yeah, you might want to check it out on her channel, which is Gypsy and Scully. Just the opposite of mine.
Yep. And yours is and mine is the and sign, isn't it? Or is yours the and sign and mine is
the word and?
The word and.
Yeah.
Either way,
yeah.
I don't have a lot of viewers. It's not a big deal. I usually do most of my stuff with Scully because he does a better job of it than I do. I don't take my time or think about any of that stuff. I'm working still. I'm doing all this other stuff and writing.
Just sit down and just do a video.
I like doing the videos because looking at the screen and seeing all the places that I've been and that's awesome for me. And now that I'm out and this is my ride, my real ride with him on the motorcycle, not training, not learning as a motorcyclist. I got my license on the 2nd time around.
Yeah. And that was a
Lisa and Linda were awesome. I did that in Grove City. It was a beautiful 2 days. I had a lot of people there, and I kept saying, "I'm going to fail this." I felt like I was.
She kept feeling like she was doing so terrible, and I'm like, "You're not doing bad at all. You're doing really well."
I thought I had failed the test.
Oh God!
And
yeah.
I was so sure that I had failed the test that when she told me, she brought me into the room, and she goes, "Okay, I went, I know I failed." And she goes, "No, you didn't fail." I went running out of the room. "Oh my God, I passed! I passed!"
She came running up to me, tears in her eyes. I was almost in tears watching her do it. Tears in her eyes going, "I passed." And of course, everybody, it was great. Everybody there, ones that passed or didn't pass or didn't know if they passed or not, were so happy for her. because she was the whole day. She was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna fail. I
This
know
is
it.
horrid. I was
I'm just
doing
gonna fail. I'm
bad.
doing so bad."
I
You
kept
weren't.
putting my feet down at the wrong times. I kept doing all these things I knew I wasn't supposed to do. But apparently, I did everything right. I need some work on some stuff like being more sure of myself on the roads. I slow down too much for the turns. I don't really slow down too much, but
You gotten a lot better
I am getting better. And that's only with practice. You're
with
gonna,
time.
with time, you're gonna
You
learn that stuff.
you get to feel the bike after a while, and you start to understand what the bike's trying to tell you when you're going into a turn.
I can
Yeah.
now look around and see these beautiful sights. Before, I was so focused on the 12 seconds in front of me that everybody kept telling you, you have to be looking 12 seconds ahead of you. You got to be looking around to both sides of the road.
She was looking
Make
at
sure
the,
nothing's coming at you.
but she wasn't really seeing the sights around her. She was just kind of like somebody could drive by. She'd say car, in her head there'd be a car going by, and if that was somebody we knew and they waved,
I didn't know.
She wouldn't have seen it.
I didn't. But now I'm able to actually see the scenery. And since this is the first ride I've had where I've actually was able to see the scenery, I wanted to show it to all of you because if you're a woman and you are thinking about riding a motorcycle, and I don't care if you have a wonderful, loving husband behind you or somebody who doesn't support you in any way, shape, or form, go get a riding course. Get out there. It'll make you feel so strong and so wonderful. And the community is wonderful. When a person sees you on a motorcycle, it's not about what motorcycle you're riding. It's not about, it's about who you are and that you're the person who wants to get their knees in the breeze.
Knees in the breeze.
I've heard that from a lot of people. I'm like, I don't have a big motorcycle. It's just a little tiny 250. And they're like, yeah, at least you're getting your knees in the breeze. And it feels good to hear that kind of stuff. You don't hear all the, oh, you should be on a Harley.
Well,
I thought I'd hear that every day.
There are guys out there that will say things like, well, you ought to buy a real bike. I don't know. It's got two wheels. It's got a motor. It's a motorcycle. It's a real bike. That's the way I look at it.
And that's what I'm thinking of. I'm not thinking of what the brand name is.
Who cares?
Gypsy Rebel gets me where I want to be and lets me see this kind of stuff.
That's what she named her bike, is a Honda Rebel.
And I'm called Gypsy by everybody. So since the gypsies move around a lot and I'm a rebel and my bike's going where I go, she's a Gypsy Rebel.
Every bike has a name.
I have to say, I'm still not a biker. I'm sorry. I called my husband the other night. We had a big rainstorm with all the leaves on the road and how cold it was. I made him come pick me up in the cage. I'm sorry, I'm not a biker. I know you're supposed to bring your bike home.
We went back the next day and got your bike and had a nice little ride home anyway.
And I got to ride your bike for the first time.
Right. That's right.
His bike is way bigger and it's a lot harder to control. That is something that I'm going to suggest to anybody trying it out. Start out on a smaller bike that's more your size. How you fit on it is what's going to make the difference. Don't start out on a big old bagger or something along those lines. Or a sport bike. Start out on something small and move up to what you need.
You'll always
be ready
to
sell your old bike to somebody who's coming into it. But at the same time,
something like this Honda Rebel, the person we bought it from bought the bike so she could learn.
It's just
a
what
bike you can handle. It's a perfect size for a young person or a woman or
even a young guy.
A young guy
who wants something small enough to learn on, but she doesn't do well on hills. She gets up to about 55, but if you're going over a hill, the most she can probably do is about 45.
Some of
these places say, oh yeah, you can do 70 miles an hour. I haven't got her I barely get her to 60 going down a hill. And then I'm rolling it back up the hill a little.
You got up to 60 on the flats. You just don't pay attention.
I don't get up to 60 on the flats.
You do. On 322, you got
55.
Well, I don't know. My speedometer says 65. So
but your speedometer's off by a lot.
So that makes it 60.
Okay.
For short spurts, she's down the road. And then when she realizes, wow, this thing's buzzing really hard and it's vibrating like crazy, and then she'll back down to 55.
I don't see that.
No,
but okay.
I know. I know.
I do go a little fast coming back from town. It is a 45-mile-an-hour road. Nope, sorry, I get up to 50.
Yeah, she breaks the lawbreaker, you.
50 is 5 miles over the speed limit. Yeah, I do what I do in the car. Okay, it's not that big of a deal.
Well,
yes, I'll take the ticket when the cop pulls me over.
Yeah.
For doing 5 miles over the speed limit. I'm not paying attention to that. I'm paying attention to the wind on my knees and the breeze and the making the turns and the feel of it all. It feels good.
Yeah. And that's
it's a strong feeling.
If there's anything you take from this, if you're going to be a new rider, guy or girl, just do it. You won't regret it.
No.
I mean,
and
don't listen to the horror stories. People will tell you these terrible, terrible horror stories of, my cousin's nephew was seriously injured in a bike accident. And we're getting close to the end of the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're always going to hear that.
You're going to hear all of the horror stories. Wear your gear. I'm going to say wear your gear. Wear your gear. I'm not saying you have to go out and buy the $100,000 worth of, pants and shirt and the jacket and the hat and the helmet and the
jeans, boots, gloves, helmet.
Yeah. I mean, just
simple.
Wear the simple stuff. And remember to ride within your abilities. Don't let anybody else rule how you're going to ride. If you have to ride slower, then ride slower. I love that about Scully. He rides
I'll ride
behind me to block for any cars that are coming around me, like you see right here. They come around you, and you just kind of have to be ready for it. But just stay your lane and make them go around you outside.
You ride your ride. Do the speed limit. Ride your ride. If you have to slow down a little bit for the turn, slow down. But being behind her, I can keep the tailgaters off of her so she doesn't get nervous. Me, I'm used to people crawling up my tailpipe. They always do it.
Yeah, well, I'm not, and I'm glad that you're back there. Thank you so much.
Oh, no problem.
Thank you for being there for me and for always watching out for me. And thank you for letting me take this to a new level.
Yeah, we're going to have to start looking for a bigger bike for her now because she's really pushing the little 250 to its limits. These hills are around
not
here.
Liking me.
These hills around here will slow that bike down pretty quick. You gotta kind of roll the bottom of the hill and go full throttle up the other side, and you may be able to drop maybe 5 miles an hour off of the speed. But if the hill's too long, the longer the hill is, the more speeds get scrubbed off. And the poor girl's just not got the horsepower. You're riding a motorcycle with a lawnmower engine on it, but it's the bike that's perfect to learn on.
It is.
And by this time next year, she will be to the point where the bike
Gypsy Rebel is no longer
not going to
big
be
enough for me.
Not good enough for the open road. And eventually we need something
that we can
get
ride on the highway a little bit with.
So, not that I do a lot of highway riding. I'm more of a back road kind of person.
This is the end of this video. We're coming up to where we get our coffee at the Sheets. Sheets is a gas station. Yeah, there was a lot of road work going on in the Sheets. Scared the crud out of me going over that little thing.
So
the water release thing. But I came there and I said, okay, I'm ready to get off the motorcycle. It's just a little bit scary for me. No, it wasn't. It was absolutely wonderful. And I love my rides. And I love the fact that I feel like a more strong, independent woman now that I'm able to ride my own motorcycle.
So, hey guys, till next time, you be safe. We'll see you
on the next
video.
Scully and Gypsy.
Yes.
Or Gypsy and Scully if you come over to my page.
I'll come over to your channel and we'll do a collaboration over there.
Yeah. So. Thank you everybody for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Scully is very, very good about putting out good videos and trying to be right on top of everything.
I try to. It may get a little controversial sometimes. If you saw my last coffee conversation where I seemed to
tick off some people
in my comment section.
Most everybody seemed very nice. There was just a few of them out there that couldn't keep their bad thoughts.
Yeah, they
out
get
of
the
it.
brand loyalty and they get all kind
Excuse me.
of all kind of pissy boots about it. So, all right, well, we're down to the end here. So, you guys take care, and we'll see you again.
Bye.